Welcome to the Carr Brothers with Jeff, Jack, and Jody Carr. They talk about current events, politics, community, and business. Take it away, boys.
Hi there. Welcome to the Carr Brothers Show. Guys, it's episode 160.
Can't believe a milestone.
Wow. Well, I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody, the third of the three Carr Brothers. And we're very pleased to have the mayor of Fundy Shores, which includes half of St. John County and the other part is Charlotte County, here in New Brunswick, Denny Cogswell. Well, thanks for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure. Tell us a little bit about how long have you been the mayor of? This is a new entity, isn't it? Somewhat new?
It is. So about 3.5 years, we came in under the amalgamation. So we were two local service districts that were merged into one.
Okay.
Parish La Pro, Parish of Musquash, as you stated, two counties.
Yeah.
So it's been confusing. We represent. I represent about 2,100, 2,200 people within those two, and we're about 370 square kilometers. So it's a small population, big area.
Yeah,
it goes, as you said, it goes from Prince of Wales to Pokalogan, butts up against Eastern Charlotte, St. John on the east, and Grand Bay Westfield. And Lake or Muckdo almost in the back. A lot of that's rural district, but we're right in the backwoods out there. So big area.
And how have you enjoyed the last 3.5 years?
Good. It's
Overall good.
It's been busy.
Yeah.
I think, as with any community, it has its challenges. I think with us, we were a brand new community. So when you're taking absolutely nothing and building it, some would say, "Oh, well, that's easy. Sounds pretty good." But in local government, as you guys are all well aware, it's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape and stuff that we had to shuffle through.
Yeah, a lot of legislation and regulation you have to abide by.
So it's a lot, and especially somebody for me that never got into it. I didn't want to be a politician. I don't think I still am. And I'm not a leader. I get into it to help my community, to try to get through some of that. I had some experience before on different committees and through my other jobs. And so, I get into it just because, passion for my community. And here we are 3.5 years later going into another election.
And are you running in the next election?
I am. I just announced after
Here tonight
much
now.
debate. No, it was official on my council was the first to know outside of family and friends. We talked it over a lot at the table and pulled what 3 hairs I had left out. So no, it was a lot of. The decision wasn't made easy. As you guys again all know, it's not. It takes a lot of commitment from family, friends. It's you give up a lot too to
give. You give up a lot to give. Really, don't you?
Yeah.
And there have been a lot talking about growing pains. Quite a number of communities that face the same kind of amalgamating and joining have had really big.
Struggles,
big struggles, challenges. So you talked about that. Did you have extra training or extra sessions, extra facilitation at all, or everyone's a pretty good team?
We didn't. We had basic training after we got elected. It was just a very, I think, if I look back now, it might have been a one-day afternoon thing. It was just kind of showing you the immediate ropes, and that was it. And I'll tell you, I've been very, very fortunate. I've had a great council. Outside of me, my whole council was female. It was, I think, one of the first few female councils that were elected. And what bothered me for 3.5 years is, I was saying earlier, is we never had the opportunities like the bigger municipalities is to come out to places like this and talk and share what we've done. It seems to be the bad news stories. Everybody's calling me and saying, we need a quote. But so for me, very lucky. I've had a good council, excellent staff. Our CAO is,
Well, that's key. If you have a CAO that understands the rules and the laws and leads you with the right advice, that's major for a new administration.
And we've been very fortunate. She came with a lot of experience. So right off the get-go, I was set up for success. So I just got to play along with everybody else and be the seat at the table. And
I guess that kind of was one of my questions was going to be, but you already answered it, was that you had no aspiration of being the mayor or anything, but what drove you to be the mayor? Just you wanted to make sure that the council was successful, like to starting out, or just?
It's kind of hard, and I talked about it a little bit through my social media. Originally, when this whole amalgamation, started, I was against it.
Yeah. Right.
I was actually one of the outspoken ones that actually went to a meeting and stood up and said, we have other parties in the House and we need to call your other MLAs in the opposition. I was very vocal against it. I didn't agree with it.
We can understand that.
Yeah. Because of some of the reasons we talked about.
Don't fix it.
Well, I like the old system where you had a spreadsheet and you had basic costs, and there was really no tendency to try to increase costs at all, and people concerned about paying more than they should be paying, I guess, right? And so you've kept your eye on that type of aspect of the amalgamation in terms of taxes and fees and costs. So has it been?
I get that a lot, especially I think a rural area. When you get a rural area is a lot different than a city or a bigger town, and rural areas they're pretty vocal and they want things to be left the way they are. They don't want change.
Meddling.
They don't want
big
people meddling in their business. And we're seen now as not big government, but we're seen as that, and that's why I get into it. Was I small community, knew everybody, related to half of people. It comes with that challenges as well. but I was hoping to be just that person that could say, listen, I don't agree the same as you don't agree with something.
But this is what we're dealt with.
That's what we're dealt with, and let me at least have the opportunity to go and talk to those that maybe we can not change things, but maybe make it better.
Well, isn't that something? Because it is pretty neat that you were against it. The amalgamation, was going ahead regardless, but you vocalized it. You didn't take your ball and go home. You said, okay, well, if this is the hand that's we're dealt with, then let's get involved and be around the table so that it can be influenced the way that that you feel it is best represented. It's pretty neat. And then now you're doing a good job.
I actually spoke to economics class at the high school, not in my community. It was in the neighboring community, and they invited me down. And I was honest with them, and that's what I said. I said, if you want to make change or at least help the direction of which way you're going, then you need to actually put the work in too. Stop blaming politicians and bureaucrats. Put the work in, come to the table, and help decide that factor. I said, it's easy to sit at home and be mad. We all do it. And hit an emoji on Facebook or on social media that you're angry or write a comment. But most of us don't read those comments if you're in the government or wherever unless you're told they're there. So make the change, do the homework, come on board with us, and let's see where we go. And that's what I did is, and I had a great council that has given me the opportunity to say, hey, we like the vision. Let's go that way.
And some of your pointed accomplishments, what do you think over the last... probably the amalgamation itself, but did you have some priorities?
We did. We set out early, so after we got incorporated in January, I gave 90 days to have a vision, a plan put in place. Again, I was probably one of the first community that signed on with Synergy for economic development. I knew we needed to work on that right out of the gate.
So, I mean, not to interrupt you, but what would it tell us more about that Synergy? What is it?
So Synergy is an economic development group that was put together long before I was a mayor. They did some work prior to amalgamation in communities like Blacks Harbor when that was a town. So they did some work there, and we seen the work that could be done. We knew we needed economic development.
Okay.
We were paying into some regionally, which that's a whole other side note. And I said, no, we need it one locally. We need our own. I know it's going to cost, but we need to spend the money and help build that base.
So this is a company or an organization, that basically you don't need your own, but a group that focuses just on you. But they keep the cost down because they're working in other communities as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So we pay them the contract. I think Fundy Shores is one of their biggest employers. And then they have Campbellton, Macadam, doing a little bit of one-offs for Graham and Ann. So they're picking up some things. Yeah. They're doing some great work. I mean, Macadam, Some of the stuff going on down there. Us, if we swing a little bit to, medical isotopes, land development, all of those things are helping. Things that me as a brand new mayor that have never been a mayor, I don't know how to get in and around the ledge and all that
Navigate
stuff.
all
And they've helped navigate those waters to open those doors. So, it's money
they
well
have a
spent.
board of directors and the whole 9 yards there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really
They
good
help-
organization.
They help you focus on the priorities for the area, for your community, and put proposals forward, try to get development, economic jobs, this type of thing.
Yep. So the board sets their pace or whatever they want, and for Fundy Shores they've come out with our 5-year economic strategy. So we have that set out there of where we're going to be between now and 2030, and so there's some big goals for a small community, but it's you gotta. I'm all about building it, and
What are some of the goals laid out in that plan?
So the big one, of course, because we do have a nuclear reactor in our backyard.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
It's right in Fundy Shores, and we're some may out there laugh at me, but I'm proud of it.
Yes.
It's a mainstay for New Brunswick and New England, and we can go on and on.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of it. I think the province needs to look at it more and expand it more. Probably you've just heard some of the news on medical isotopes and some of that. We've been advocating for that for over a year. I've been pushing that at all levels.
Which means what? What? I'm sorry, I haven't followed that in the news. But what is it? The byproduct from?
Yeah, so it's the hot cell that's in the reactor. They take out, they process, or send it out for processing. It's what helps drive all kinds of things, whether you're CT scans, chemotherapy, cleaning your surgical equipment. It's a whole.
And you'd like to see some of that processed or kept in the community to make those products.
So they can produce them there. They'll know in April. The regular maintenance shutdowns in April, and then they'll go in with their bundles that they put into the actual face of the reactor to do a feasibility on it to see what's there. And after that, they take them out, and then they have to send them away to be processed. So I would like to cut that out and have a processing facility here
local.
at Fundy Shores.
Yeah, it makes sense. And now you're a local voice. You're hoping that someone will make that decision
I'm hoping, and we see it in Ontario. Ontario's invested heavily in it, and they do process them some. But I think for Fundy Shores, it could be a driver for New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, like the whole Atlantic region.
Good for you.
Because right now the only places they actually process all of them is either Boston or over in Germany.
So wow. So there you go.
And the ones they do in Ontario, but there's all different types of isotopes too. So
of course.
So depending on what the CANDU in Point La Pro produces, could be a
different than
game
what the
changer.
can
Yeah,
on the others.
Be game changer.
Okay, good for you.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we still for this session, but you were talking. I cut you off when you were talking about some accomplishments and some. This was a big one, obviously, to get an economic development plan in place and some focus. Any other things you wanted to mention about what you've been working on?
A lot. So it's, we haven't stopped. It's been right out of the gate. So, I mean, we purchased the land on our own for a community complex. So we're going through the process, actually, I think in the next 2 weeks. I hope I'm not jumping the gun here. That it'll be going to all of our committees. And then hopefully in the next week after that, it'll go out to the community for a presentation and financials. And
what this would all be.
Yeah,
and the
so it was a huge thing for us because the part of the thing to backtrack a bit is the amalgamation. When we came together as two LSDs, the hardest part for us is one of the hardest parts is we weren't given any land or infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they had none.
Yeah,
no community building or no
here.
No, we had nothing. So we were literally day one when I was sworn in, and then January before council meeting, we were literally in the back room putting chairs together and putting.
At like a local hall somewhere.
Yeah. They were doing construction on a little bit of it. Mm-hmm. They, but I mean nothing. Mm-hmm. So we were nothing that we knew we would outgrow it within. Well, we are now. So I mean, within our
6
first
months.
term.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So so that'll kind of roll out in a public presentation here in a couple weeks. So
so we're very excited for that, because I think it's going to be a game changer for our community. Because you need growth. If we don't have growth, we're going to be stagnant, and taxes are still going to go up. People, I know, don't like to hear the taxation.
But you get growth, though, that'll help minimize that.
Grow your tax base.
Well, to have more people actually live in the community, they'll want some sort of sports complex, facility of some sort. Maybe some of those jobs, people can live there more handy.
Well, you don't usually hear this, especially on the verge of an election, I guess, from a politician. But I'll be the first to say I've never been one, and I never will be one, to say that I'm not going to raise your taxes. I've been very upfront about that. I know it will happen eventually, at one reason or another. I always said my job is to keep your taxes as low as I can, and that's all I can do.
And it sounds like, though, fully on board to consult and be open and transparent, let people know the options and how the decision could affect their taxes, and involve the community in the decision, I guess, right?
Well, and I've said this just last week. I said that the end decision will always be for me, and I get one vote at the table. That's all I get. But the decision will always be the community.
Yeah.
If the community comes out and I don't want none of this, as long as you know the facts, that you can throw it all in the garbage can, but taxes, that's got nothing to do with your taxation. It's still going to go up because we got other bills to pay.
Well, that's right.
Then,
and so be it.
Then it's on you.
Well, I think I go back to, again, where you started in this whole process of not being in favor of amalgamation. In favor of status quo. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Now, because of this experience, knowing probably more of the issues and more of what's at stake for the future of your community, now you're supporting growth and supporting change, I guess, if you will, but in a positive way. I think that's very fascinating. I think it's pretty cool, actually.
Some would say it's a politician and hypocritical. I don't know.
I wouldn't say that.
And maybe some would say, good. But it's just being honest. I never...
Did you ever think you would say, well, we need a community complex, we need growth, we need more people?
I think I would have, not in the context that I see it now because I'm on the other side.
Right.
But I always knew our community had a lot to offer, and I think we needed something, because everybody was saying it.
Yeah.
We just had no local government before that would stand up and say, hey, we agree with you, let's make it happen. We only had local service districts, and really
LSD advisory committees don't make
and
that
they did
happen.
well. I'm not going to dispute it, because I was on one of them many years ago. They did what they could, but they had no real power. They had no real.
No.
I'm not saying we have power, but we have a lot more.
They had an advisory role, is what they were, really.
Exactly.
And who was the LSD chair? I don't think it was. Maybe it was LaPro. Midge?
No, Musquash.
Yeah, Midge.
It was Midge Thompson.
Right. I met her at a couple of community meetings
Yeah.
I hosted down there with Andrea, and she was passionate about it. But like she would say, we're just an advisory council.
Yeah.
We don't make the decisions, and their main role, as you know, was just to advise on whether the contract for the dog catcher was too high or not, or the garbage
and
collection.
usually after the fact.
Exactly.
And in all reality, to some degree, a municipal government is. I like it because it's truly grassroots. It's you can't get no more closer to the community when you get your neighbor stopping in for coffee and yelling and screaming about his tax assessment and then you're going about your day. Or I get blamed at the gas station every Thursday night for raising the price of gas, and which I have
no control.
Right. So I find that part very interesting. But yeah, it's.
Well, what a great discussion.
Yeah.
We do need to take a break, guys. We got to take just a couple of minutes.
Yes, we do.
To break away and let some of our partners at CHCO display their commercials and advertisements and whatnot. So we're going to come back in just a few minutes.
Hi there, welcome to the Carr Brothers Show. We're back here, segment number 2. It's episode 160. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody, the third of the three Carr brothers, having a great discussion about Fundy Shores, the municipal region, Charlotte/St. John County, and having a good conversation here, Jack.
Yeah, well, just very pleased to have our mayor of, I was going to say ours, but it feels like it, like we've known each other for a long time, mayor of Fundy Shores, Denny Cogswell. Have a great conversation there with you there, Denny, and it's been very enlightening. You've been the first mayor for the new entity of Fundy Shores, as Jody said, and you've announced last week or the week before that you're going to reoffer. And for people that might not have seen the first segment, when this whole forced amalgamation started, you were against it, very vocal, but it continued to go ahead. And then you said, "Well, I'm going to jump on board and get involved." And now, you're right full in and looking to reoffer again. So it's quite something, quite a story.
The question that we were touching on prior to amalgamation, a lot of people said they were concerned about the taxes going up if these forced amalgamations came in. I know in our community we're equally concerned. Local service districts, to me, seem to be pretty nimble and very little administration costs. And how has the amalgamation affected our taxes in Fundy Shores? And can you point to an increase or decrease or a status quo? How's it been on the tax?
No, it's been good. So again, I've been fortunate. We haven't raised or touched the municipal portion, the municipal tax rate. We haven't changed or touched it for 3 years. So it's been the same as what it was pre-amalgamation. So I consider that a big win because we've done a lot. We've bought our own. We bought 40 acres of land on our own. We didn't have to raise any rates or touch anybody's money out of that. And so to me, that was a big win for our council to be able to do that, and plus hire the Synergy, the economic development group, and move economic development forward for our community. I think was a good. We built a good foundation.
Yeah, because I get the sense that you're very focused on the budget and the not going overboard with taxes for your residents.
100%. So my CAO is probably going to watch this and just. So I'm go, and there sometimes are like, but this is government.
We need a balance.
Yeah.
So I go to engineers not all the time, council. They say, well, we can have this back in 4 months, and I'm like, well, let's try for 2.
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
That's right.
I think that's why the Carr brothers like you so much already.
I'm very,
this
and
out,
when it comes to budgeting and taxation, listen, I'm all about. If I can lower them tomorrow and still do with what I got, I'm all for it. I'd sooner, I get frustrated sometimes at government and others, or when they're always the first word, well, we want this, and we can raise the tax rate over here to meet that. And I'm like, why are we always going right to the tax rate first?
Yeah,
why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amen.
Why aren't we going to everybody else? Let's pick everybody else's pockets dry first, and then we'll go to the people that are paying. Because listen, truth be known, I understand. I'm one of them, like you guys and all my residents. I fully get it. I get the power bill every month. I get my property assessment. I get all the bills.
Yep.
So I'm just as frustrated as anybody else. So when they hear me building a community complex or wanting to do all these great things, yes, everything comes at a cost, but let's try to keep the costs low. And for me, it's always been about getting the best value for our dollar.
The benefit of it as well.
If I can get a good value and pay, and I'm happy with it, then I'll pay it.
And if it makes sense that it's going to have a return on that investment for the community.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it always comes down to community, right? It's for me, it's the community has to be the winner in this because they're the sole provider. They're the ones that are providing everything. I say that in every meeting I've been in with hundreds of them in 3 years for stakeholders and developers, and it's well, this and your tax rate. You guys are going to get this from your tax rate, but what's my community going to get? Because they don't mind either. The majority of them, you'll always get some that hate taxes no matter what. But some will come out and say, I don't mind paying a little extra if I'm going to see the benefit.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's where we're at.
Does Fundy Shores have shared agreements for services like basic services, garbage collection, fire, recreation? Do you have shared agreements with neighboring?
No. So we pay into the Regional Service Commission.
Okay, yeah.
That's for planning, probably.
Planning, sanitation. So I'll say right off the bat, and I'm probably going to go down a rabbit hole here. So I'll say off the bat. I'll say off the bat, those two services I think should be a regional service. I think that's a. I think it's where you're getting again the best bang for your buck, and I think those two through the region are. And I'll start there.
And that's why
solid.
you like the economic development side of it, where Synergy's doing a good job, and and have others take part in that too.
And that's why I guess I stopped at the Regional
okay,
Service
and I went and
Commission
brought that
level,
up.
and Synergy, we pay for our own economic
Yes.
development, but we're getting double dipping, and that's what I don't like, because we have to pay the Regional
you still
Service
do.
Commission as well.
Okay.
Right.
And I don't think some of those services should be mandated.
Right. Okay. I see.
Right.
Makes sense.
So maybe I'm
So-
going down to
so
a
Yeah,
No,
provincial.
it's all part of the local governance reform. X amount of services, different categories are mandated for municipalities to contribute to.
Yeah.
Whether the value is there or not, I guess it's yet to be seen. I mean, for other regions, it works.
Yep. No, and I think
here in
some
Fredericton, they
things
have
work.
Ignite.
Yep.
It works for the region.
The-
It seems to.
And I went to the review. They've asked me, and I spoke at that, and they asked me what I would change or do. And again, planning the landfill stuff, I think we're good. Tourism, economic development, those two things I would withdraw tomorrow, for sure.
Just not enough local focus in
Yeah.
your community.
Now that could change in the year. I mean, they're working it. It's all been new to them under the amalgamation too, and that's what I keep telling people when you keep going. We keep circling back to taxes. Is we pay that. So whether we do nothing locally to build a community complex or to move development forward, we're still paying a lot of money to the Regional Service Commission. So that's got to balance at the end of the day. So we could do nothing, we're still paying that bill.
Right.
Right.
So somebody's got to pay it.
And part of it is, do you sit on the Regional Service
Yes.
Commission? So part of it is you trying to influence, I guess, the priorities of the Regional Service Commission, I suppose.
Yeah, I sit on a couple boards and stuff, and that's being one of them just as being mayor. And sometimes I'm getting better at it. I'd like to think if they're watching, they're probably going to be like, oh, no. But it's been a struggle because I was a new mayor. I was 3 years now in, and I still consider myself trying to learn the ropes and listen and take it all in. And it's...
And I always say you're the one that goes back to the community that has to answer the questions.
Yep.
So you need the information, and your residents are paying the bill, and you need to make sure it's good value. And that's whether it's the Service Commission or the provincial government or federal government,
Yep.
and that's your job.
Sometimes
So-
it's hard to take when the mayor's hat on, then take it off and go to the Regional Service Commission to put a regional one on.
Oh yeah, they want you not
It's-
to have that local voice, but that still is your local
At the
responsibility.
end of the day,
Yeah.
I can walk out of there and it's still my council that's watching everything,
Yeah.
and they're
And
still the
people-
ones that pay the bill.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
A lot of times, as we all know, and we go to Fredericton as provincial MLAs, the central government or even central staff don't like us standing on the side of our constituents, but they're the people that we answer to. So at your level, it's the same thing. And we understand it.
And
You
a lot
gotta-
of the
you do
time,
it.
a lot of the times, it's getting the information, making sure it's good value, the same things you've said, and being able to understand it to be able to either explain it or, at least we don't like it, but this is the decision and why it was made on a regional level.
Good
So,
point. Whole combination of that.
I think that's what I like about the municipal side of it, is that you get to go and have those one-on-ones with your neighbor, with you. You get to do that a little more because, MLAs, I have a great relationship with our MLA, and it's great, and they do it for the most part, but they're busier. I mean, it's
And they have a
you
lot
know,
more
and
of an area to.
a bigger area, and they
for
got to do
too.
a lot more traveling. They're in Fredericton when the legislature convenes, and so it's a whole different ball game. But it's I certainly understand it more now.
how about priorities going forward? You have talked about some accomplishments in the short time you've been a council. You seeking re-election, what do you see as priorities in the next mandate?
So the main priority, or the big thing, I guess, is the structure, the community complex. I think that's going to be the next couple months for sure, getting it back out to the community, hearing their opinion, what they, we've heard it for the last year. That's how we got to this point. But now we're getting into the financials and the numbers and getting into the gravy, so to speak. So so now that'll be the big, if I'm privileged enough to get reelected, that'll be the next 4 years. I'm hoping a lot quicker because our plan for 2030 is to have all that stuff in place before that. So our 5-year plan shows that, the
be
growth that we wanted. It shows the community complex already up. because within the community complex fits all of our other things.
Like what?
Healthcare,
How important is the community
Daycare,
Yeah.
healthcare, all of those things
At
that
the
the community.
complex?
Yeah, well, everything that the community wanted, we tried to fit into the complex to kind of offset everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have no land, we have no buildings, we have no infrastructure. So this will be it. This will be.
So speak about that. How important is this? You were calling it sports complex, but it's, or is it a community
community
complex?
complex.
Ah,
Complex,
okay, okay.
yeah.
I'm thinking sports complex.
Right. Yeah, you're thinking Ormuckdor.
But it's a community
Don't get Denny in
complex.
trouble here.
Yeah, it's a community complex. So tell us some more. Is it library services? You said it is. Daycare.
So it'll be split. So some of it or a portion of it will be municipal offices and building. Then the other portions will be leasable areas or office
to get some
space
revenue.
for
Offset.
for revenue. We wanted that, and then the other part will be for the future because we've heard a lot about healthcare. We want to get that going. We want to get daycare going. We've struck some stuff there through the YMCA right now for a summer program for the school. So we're utilizing the school and we're trying to meet the community needs there. But the community complex will really be, it'll open doors for us to have things put in place. Like healthcare for us, we're actually going to this council, so it'll be soon, a preventative care clinic. So we talk about collaborative care a lot, but we realize that not everybody wants or needs a doctor all the time. So we, out in our area, a lot of the community came to us and said, well, we'd like to be able to just get a prescription filled out here, not drive 30 minutes to the city. We'd like to, see a physiotherapist. We'd like to get our diabetic stuff checked. We'd like, so to us, we focused on a preventative care clinic. We have that proposal ready to go to government now. We're hoping to get support. We've got support from our committee, so that'll be a big step. And we want to utilize paramedics. We feel that they're way underutilized right now in the province, and they could play a big role in preventative care.
And home care, would home care connect with that as well?
I think we want to have that in one area, and then if it's say paramedics, we'll just say run the clinic. They could give everybody that branch off of where they need to go.
Like a network type thing, a resource.
Yeah.
It seems very, very active, very progressive, and action oriented that the community's putting forward.
Our council, like I said, from day one, we came out of the gate. As you said, I wasn't for it. We're for it. So it was either we were all going to be in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, or we were going to get nothing done, and we were going to just stay in the same spot.
Or go behind.
Everybody's going by.
Going behind.
How do you find balancing between the different types of people? Like you've got a vast, diverse community of income, social, economic backgrounds. How do you find being able to relate to everyone?
So for us, it was a little different too, because I guess you learn a lot being in municipal government. I get to see stuff and hear stuff that I never did before. I get to meet with people that never did before, and now so to me I can't fix a lot of the problems, but we can actually slowly put things in place that help them. So I mean, little things that we've done, I say little, for us that was huge because we were brand new. Other places had it. A recreation library, we have that. We put that in place so people can come up in the wintertime and get snowshoes and go snowshoeing in our trails.
Sign them out.
Sign them out. You can come in the summertime. There's board games we have. We buy all the big Costco stuff, the big yard stuff. They can come out and they can sign it out, and they take pictures. They upload it to our social media. So it's for everybody. So whether you're at this level or this level, anybody can come and get it. The other great thing we just released last year was the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
What? Oh,
yes.
So our community was selected. We pay
2
a
doors
portion,
down.
and we pay a portion, and I think we've got, could have went up by now, but 45 or 48 children in Fundy Shores that receive a book every month in their mailbox, all free of charge.
And you council initiated that.
Yep.
And
So
applied
council
for
and staff supported it and fully moved ahead quick on it. We were selected, and we pay the portion. We budgeted for it, and so we get a lot of great feedback from mums and single moms that are getting books right to their
Yes,
mailbox.
books aren't cheap anymore.
No, nothing's cheap anymore. And we were talking about that. Maybe have to talk some more about the costs of everything going up and the impact of the potential provincial budget. Want to hear about that. And anyway, some other discussions we'll have. We'll look forward to that in our next segment. But right now, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Good.
Hello there. Welcome back to the Carr Brothers Show. It's episode 160. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody.
And we're very pleased to have the mayor of Fundy Shores, new amalgamated municipality, which includes from Prince of Wales all the way to Pokalogan and Charlotte and St. John counties, Denny Cogswell. Very pleased to have you on. We've had a great conversation.
Still happy to be here.
Are you having fun still? Good.
He hasn't left yet.
I haven't left yet. I haven't been thrown out, so we're doing good.
No,
Good,
that's
good,
not
good.
going to happen. So you were saying, 3.5 years of this new council, which is a big learning curve, and then you're going to reoffer for the next council. But let's find out, for if there's any viewers, a lot of your residents would know, the 2,100 residents in your municipality, but for others that watch the Carr Brothers Show, what do you do? Do you have a day job, and what else do you do besides being the mayor?
I do. It's a day-night job.
Night job, yes.
Yeah, so I'm a full-time paramedic. Have been for a long time, and that's where my started over there, and
Wow.
that's where I'm still at. I hope, knock on wood. And the political career kind of,
Developed
as
into
we
it.
said earlier, it kind of just fell into me, I guess, or I fell into that.
And how long have you been a paramedic?
32 years.
Wow. A lot of
So
service, a lot of.
And I'm only
first
28, so let's be.
You do the math.
Yeah.
So where's your location?
Service
Where's your service? Or like you right out of La Pro?
Yeah, so our station's in La Pro, but
Dynamic
you
deployment
sign
can
on.
take you anywhere.
You sign on there, and don't get me started on that. You're gonna have to bring me back now, just for that's a whole other episode.
Yes,
yeah, I
But
know.
yeah, we sign in La Pro, and then you just go from there.
Deploy
There's
from
no
there.
such thing, not yet anyway. Like there used to be years ago, community ambulances. That's not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of change then in your professional
a lot,
careers.
A lot.
and,
Some of it good, a lot of it
Yeah.
good. Some things are not so good, and I think things can be good. It's always the management or how it's managed or mismanaged,
out.
or
Well, that just ties right into a newly amalgamated community, and you got involved, and you're just doing the best you can to get as positive as possible, because we've seen lots of other amalgamated communities that started out like yours. They were just like there's LSDs, and they've not had a had a
so
bumpy
well.
ride.
Yep, they've had to go
So
into
you just make the
under,
best of it.
Supervision.
supervision.
Couple
Yeah.
of them, yeah.
2 or 3.
Oh,
that-
there's at one time I think there was 5 in total. I mean, a couple came back, and then they,
Yeah.
and again, I've been, I'm tired of. You're tired of probably me harping on it, but I've been very fortunate. I've had a good council. We came into it with a vision. We've chose, I think, to make things work is you put your differences aside when you come into that room, and you can debate the issue and discuss it for the time that you're allotted, and you move forward with it. It's either you're going this way or you're not.
So how many councillors are on council? And
5.
5 councillors.
So we have three wards and 2 at large, and we've had a
Plus
one
you.
seat vacant because our past deputy mayor passed away last fall.
So that's been
plus you.
vacant. And do you expect the council to reoffer? You're not sure?
I haven't heard anything official yet, so I don't want to throw anybody's name out there.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
probably 1, maybe 2 for sure that I'm feeling, but nothing official.
Nothing official.
But you've completed this term with everybody you started with, other than the one you
Yep.
lost to
Yep.
that passed away. So that's a pretty good sign.
Yep.
I mean, not every council
That's that.
goes through that without some kind of a
No, we
vacancy.
well, we've been very good, and again, the opportunity to come here tonight goes back to that. Is I wish that not early on, maybe, but throughout that 3 years, that other places or networks or somebody would have caught on to that instead of us always hearing about those 3 or 5 bad things.
Oh, yeah.
To maybe. I don't
Highlight
like
some of the
bragging
positive.
about it, like, because it makes me sound bad. But bringing Fundy Shores up into the limelight to say, hey, these guys are they're doing pretty good down
Let's
there.
showcase this.
They're-
It can work.
And they have, and again, it comes back to to my council, all being in the same boat, rowing in the same. So we're from a commercial fishing community too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, not only for the council that you represent, but for other jurisdictions in New Brunswick, with the municipal elections coming up here this spring, there might be some, in a lot of the municipalities are doing these training sort of sessions or sessions to enlighten potential candidates what it involves being a councillor. So what would it necessarily involve? There's time, there's other things. Like if someone is thinking about running, what should they know?
Well, I think the first and foremost thing you need to have is passion for your community. If you don't have that and you're just getting into it because you don't like who's there now, or you got an axe to grind, then I don't think you should. Right. Because that's when you create the chaos that we're seeing. But if you got true passion for your community, you want to see it do good things, and that doesn't mean it always has to be going this way. You can say no to a lot of things around the council table and vote no, and that's fine. But yeah, passion for the community and be committed. Because if you're going to come into it and think you're only going to attend a meeting or two and say you're going to do what you want, then again, I don't think it'll work. And I remember going to a meeting not long ago, maybe last fall, and I remember I asked a question. I said, well, we were all hearing that. I said, oh, where's the mayor for whatever? Oh, no, they said the mayor don't come to these meetings. I said, well, no, the mayor only comes to the 2 meetings for his council, and that's it.
Okay.
I'm like, oh,
wow.
Okay, that's not, So I said, maybe I need to claw back from 150% to maybe 100. I don't know, but so that's not who I am. I go full in. And
so you go to some of the committee meetings, like the committee?
So I'm chair of 2 committees. I sit on the Regional Service Commission board. I sit on the board for Synergy. And I attend, I probably in 3.5 years, I'll probably list them here in the next few weeks because on my Facebook, but I'm going to say 400 meetings roughly that I've attended, all public events and, going where somebody says, hey, do you want to come up and do this or do? Sure, I'm all in. And I think that comes with the job. Now, that's mayor. Obviously, council, a little different, but I think you got at least 10 to 20 hours a month is
standard.
If you go on to your 2 or 3 or 4 meetings a month, there's some commitment there.
That's good to know.
What else did you want to ask about? Some more of your background? Or no? Yeah, well, you mentioned your background. If there's anything else you're involved with, you have another business I read there on your profile.
Yeah, I don't want to promote that, but I do run a business, and I've been involved with paramedics and medical dispatchers over probably most of my career, 25 plus years as a union rep, and enjoyed it. And again, I think that experience, though, has brought me as mayor, whether you're following Robert's Rules of Order, conducting meetings, or it's like kind of all blended together. It's kind of
public relations a little bit, So, as a paramedic, that's a huge service, first responder and a community service. I consider that. And then mayor, community service, giving back, all the committees you're involved. Where do you think you get this community service aspect of your characteristic? Where do you get this from?
So you're going there.
Yeah.
You're going to make me emotional
yes.
now. So my dad.
Right.
So those that, well.
Yeah, what was his name? Because he's passed
George Cogswell. And so I was George. Denny is my nickname, Cogswell. So I never went by George as a kid. Didn't like it back in those days growing up. It was
your dad's name.
You were teased too, George. Like, who knows? Like, that's not a. And back in those days, my dad and a lot of the older ones were all named after, because we belonged to Great Britain or under that, and they were all named after kings and queens and George and Harry's and. So that's where it come from. My dad was big into politics, big into the union, big into helping people, always do the right thing, and for my dad, and I'll mention this because he ran for the NDP back when the NDP wasn't really well, I don't. So we won't go there.
During a dry spell,
but he ran under Tommy Douglas. So and I carry his picture or have it on my fireplace with my dad and Tommy. Spoke well of him, but my dad was but he was good friends with Sheldon Lee, and he was good friends with Greg Thompson.
Yeah.
So I look at it, and people say, "Oh, voting in today's world, it's pretty tough." But I mean, I said I can remember growing up as a kid that Greg Thompson could be stopping talking to my dad at the kitchen table, Sheldon Lee, or you had NDP people, and just that mix. That I said, I think that back then said a lot, is you could agree and disagree and debate and
Still be friends.
Yeah, and still come out of it ahead. And, and I had a lot of respect for all of them, because I didn't look at a conservative or a liberal or a banner. I looked at the person, like Greg Thompson, Sheldon Lee, two different leaders, two different parties, but true to what
For
they...
the same cloth to help support the community.
Yeah, and that's where I think my dad and, people in the community would say that. The older generation would say, your dad would do this and you're acting like your dad because you're... So I think that's where I get it. I hope, and I hope he's looking down somewhat proud. I know he's probably gritting his teeth a little bit too and saying, what are you doing? This is like... Get out of there.
Oh, and I'm sure, because he wasn't, he had already passed away before you became mayor.
Yeah.
So I bet you he's right there in the old campaign truck and the sign committee and
he's
around the table.
Well, him and Greg and Sheldon are all
They
together.
would have loved it.
And they're all together watching what's going on.
They would have loved it. Yeah, my dad would have been, I can just hear him every night after council. He'd be probably calling me saying, get down here and we have a coffee and you're doing everything right or do everything wrong. It's either one way or the other. There was no, but no, it's again, I have nothing. He taught me a lot, and it's always, no matter what color or what way that ballot box swings, is you do the right thing and you just try to do your best for the people you represent.
Well, that's good. That's good. You can't ask for more than
No,
that.
that's
Not one bit. It's just a man after our heart.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
That's what we say. So, yeah.
Well, if even 75% of the people that got into it were for those reasons, it'd be great. But not everybody gets into it for those reasons. They have axes to grind, like you say,
or think of it that way. People are just people trying to do good, and you leave this world and leave politics or whatever with your reputation or whatever mark of service, and you seem to be well on your way following your dad's kind of approach, is respecting everyone regardless. And
well, I think you do, and I think you have to have a vision and stick to. A lot of times I said I rely on my gut. My gut feeling says this. Then because I know, especially in politics in the last 3 years, is, today they'll shake your hand, they think you're doing a great job, and tomorrow they'll be pushing your back and telling you that you did it all wrong. So I don't take a lot of it. I get a lot of messages, from the community of everything, and it's you just take
nice,
it for what it is.
It's nice, but I always said too, if you put such high stock on that, you're going to put high stock on getting kicked in the butt too. So it's you accept it and you still stay with your vision. Right? So
because I find social media, we talked about this earlier, is back in our day or growing up, you didn't have none of that, and now you either are on it and stay with the times with it, or you're going to get lost and be irrelevant. So I try to do the best I can with it, but I know social media can be hard too. It's not always a fun
experience.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, no, so you're taking it all hand in hand, and you've got the right approach and the right attitude towards being on council, especially a new council going forward. What would I know what my answer would be, but what would you say is the most stressful or the most intense part of being on council? Like, rezoning process type of thing. That would be, for me, that would be probably the trickiest part to get through.
Somebody's going to shoot me here yet. Government. For me,
that's fair.
Oh, well,
everyone will agree.
Dealing with the government.
I'm going to vote for this guy.
No, dealing with the government.
Different levels of government and
different levels, but I'll say the past year's been rough, and I'll just leave it there. But it's been not easy, and I will give a little shout out here a bit to the previous government and stuff, because we took a lot of heat over RCMP and over policing. And it was in the media a lot. I was in the media. I was quite vocal about it.
Yep.
We had a lot of break-ins within a short period of time. We didn't feel we were getting the biggest bang for our buck on policing. and so council gave us direction, gave me direction. We went off on it, and I'll say a little shout out to Chris Austin. He was the public safety minister at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody told me, "Oh, you're just a little community. You're not going to get nowhere like police and RCMPs," and we took it on, and and Chris was true to his word. He got us a meeting with the Deanna Hill at the time and the top
From the
RCMP
Commissioner.
and we went to a meeting, and in that meeting, I won't get into all the details of what was said. I think, but they stood true to their word. We get up at the end of it, and I remember one of the officers, and he shook my hand. And he said, "You know what? We're gonna do things right, and we're gonna make." And they did, and we've got a better relationship today than what we had 3 years ago. And it was because of the RCMP, but it was mostly because of that relationship with the government at the time, that you could pick up the phone. I didn't expect yes, we're going to resolve all the issues. I knew that wouldn't happen, but just the respect and courtesy of get up here to Fredericton, let's see what we can do. And I was very happy with it, and we came out ahead for it. So.
And so
It's more of a challenge now, obviously, with the change in government.
It's been a challenge, and some other, like I said, the land issue for us. We came in with no land. We plotted out the first 120 days of what we wanted, what we'd like to see, and we're still arguing and debating over.
Even with the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
so
with
to
each
me,
other.
that would be my biggest challenge of just getting them to the table to have that discussion and get it going. That's the biggest
challenge.
So you're right, zoning and stuff. So we passed our rural plan. There's a lot of communities right now that are struggling.
Yep.
They haven't passed it.
We passed it early on our first year.
Good.
We went through all the consultation. So that would be another feather in our cap too.
Yes,
is
it is.
We came on as a new community, and I'm not going to say it was fully easy, but we passed it. We took it out to the community and
got down to business.
Yeah.
Checked off the list.
Have the right discussions.
You had a question. You were talking about the most challenging, but Jack, you had a question.
Yeah, I did, Jode. Denny, something that would be, maybe you can think of something that would be sort of a highlight for you. We talked about the bigger highlights that Jody had asked, but more in the grassroots, because you've mentioned being a counselor. We've only got a couple minutes there, but something that would be a grassroots thing that was a highlight for you personally in your role.
Yeah, so there's probably been a few. I mean, you don't talk about them every day, but there's certain things as a municipal government, a lot of things that we don't have control over, like roads. They're not our roads, so we work with, DTI, schools, busing, that is all different departments. So the busing, we had a young lady with her child with a disability, was having a hard job getting a school bus down the road because policies changed over the years, and now the policy said we don't go that road, and we don't. She called everybody, and I was the kind of the end stop is, and she did her homework. I went down, met with her in her home with the counselor, and she had a pile of emails and phone calls and everything documented, and wasn't getting nowhere. They just said, no, leave us alone. You're not getting a bus. And I said, what do I do? I said, I don't want to call the phone to the deputy minister's office and all that and play politics and bang my chest. I'm the mayor of Fundy Shores. That wasn't who I was. So I went the process from the school principal, worked my way up, and finally got the Anglophone South, and and I got frustrated. So I seen where she could get frustrated, and there was some headbutting, and there were some things where I had to go. Finally, deputy minister, and
So you went up there.
I went there, but I played by the rules. I went up to change.
You didn't want to have to.
But at the end of the day, it was a Friday afternoon at 3:30. And I remember calling and said, listen, here's where we're at. We all did the homework. We have until 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, the guy laughed, and he said, what are you going to do for 4 o'clock? I said, I already have a call into CBC.
Yeah.
You have a young child here, disability. It's 3 kilometers down the road.
Bus won't come down.
What do we do?
They wanted to make the child walk or get their own.
They had to walk with everybody else to 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers up the road to the stop.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was 4 o'clock, 5 to 4. When I got the phone call back, and they said this was Friday, and they said the school bus will be doing a new stop on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And the girl called me.
It's emotional.
That after, and she was very, and I see that they posted even on my social media when I announced re-election that you don't look at that stuff, a little government, but they're like, there's a vote, there's good.
Wow.
But I mean, that to me was something that should have been resolved. It was as simple as one person could have made the decision,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the bureaucracy.
Yep.
That's the
And
policy.
Well, that's
And I don't like doing it. I don't like going
that
government
two-step
wise,
route of you.
but
you,
it worked out, and that's one of the things you kind of like, this was
Worth it.
helping people.
all the headaches I get over here. Kind
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. It made a huge difference for that family for sure.
We'll let someone wrap up the show because we're
Well,
running out of time. Denny.
We have to wrap up. We could talk some more, but really got to appreciate hearing from you, Denny, learning about your background, what you're doing in Fundy Shores. We just really thank you very much, and wish you all the best and the community of Fundy Shores in the future. And thanks for making the Carr brothers your friends. And thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be on here. Very,
Good. Well, with that, thank you, folks. Thanks for watching on CHCO, and we will see you next time.
Good night.